What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 coming to you with another video game review, and this time I'm reviewing ECW Hardcore Revolution, which was released on the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, Sony PlayStation, and Sega Dreamcast by Acclaim Entertainment and Acclaim Studios, Salt Lake City. Now, the Game Boy Color version has a different developer to it, but the name of it slips my mind right now. But it's pretty much based on the ECW wrestling promotion that went out of business back in 2001. I'll say back in 2000, and this one came out like a few months before ECW actually went out of business, and I would say that the home console versions got an M rating, and this was pretty much the first time that a wrestling game ever got a M rating because of pretty much of the hardcore matches and everything. Now the majority of the wrestlers who are in ECW Hardcore Revolution are like superstars who was like already in it, like Rob Van Dam, Sabu, and Tommy Dreamer, Raven, and other like superstars. But for some reason, the Sandman wasn't on the roster for some reason, you know. So that's kind of like a head scratcher right there, you know. Now, first the Game Boy Color version, it had pretty much less superstars in it. I'm guessing it was because of the limitation of a Game Boy Color, you know. And one thing about this particular game, it has like different matches, single matches, tag team matches, lumberjack matches, triple threat matches, stuff like that. Now with the Game Boy Color version, it has pretty much the challenge mode, career mode, versus mode, barbed wire matches, and training mode, which is of course serves as a it gets you familiar with the controls and everything. So I would say the one complaint about ECW Hardcore Revolution is that it's like very similar to WWF Attitude and WWF Warzone, which pretty much like came out for like Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Dreamcast. Those games that were out in between say 1996 and 2000. It didn't. It's kind of like it really didn't like have like stuff that were really like consistent with like ECW and everything. Now the graphics and design of the Game Boy Color versions were pretty bad with bland sprites and color palettes. Now the home console versions of ECW Hardcore Revolution were slightly better, but they just didn't age well, and that's the thing. Now at this point, it's kind of like with the gameplay and controls. The Game Boy Color version pretty much is like pretty much mediocre at best, and the hit detection doesn't always hit its mark. You know what I'm saying? And the when it comes to the Game Boy Color version, it's pretty much the soundtrack to Hardcore ECW Hardcore Revolution isn't really that. It's really bad, and it, of course, didn't set any standards for soundtracks for wrestling games. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, the one of the complaints that gamers had about this particular game is like it's too similar to WWF Attitude and WWF Warzone, and they could have had more superstars on the Game Boy Color version of ECW Hardcore Revolution. Probably like I don't know, say like at least between 10 and say 10 and 14. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't give you a lot of options as far as picking a particular superstar. And one thing about it is that ECW Hardcore Revolution could have been a good wrestling title. You know what I'm saying? With while it's kind of like I'm saying it could have been a good wrestling title with emphasis on what made ECW ECW. You know what I'm saying? But it was because it was too similar to the two wrestling titles that I mentioned and the other flaws. It just ended up being just a mediocre wrestling title that relied too much on WWF Attitude and Warzone. Now, as far as and they especially really didn't need to. Now, as far as the score, I definitely give it a 5 out of 10, and because it didn't like age well and all that, you know what I'm saying. And I wouldn't really like recommend it to anybody, especially those who are like wrestling fans or fans of ECW and everything. This is like a wrestling title that you would pass by. There was like pretty much better wrestling titles that came out back in the late '90s, like WWF WrestleMania 2000 for the Nintendo 64, or SmackDown True Glory Road for the PlayStation 1. Now, with that being said, if you played ECW Hardcore Revolution, you can mention it in the comment section, and you can tell me what things you didn't like about it. You know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. If you like my review of ECW Hardcore Revolution, don't hesitate to click the thumbs button, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy, Big Metro Fan 12 signing off.